My name is Eddie Laiche. I'm 19, and right now I'm in my home in Burbank, California, which is in LA. And I'm currently a student at California Polytechnic State University, and I'm studying civil engineering. And in relation to my nuclear disarmament advocacy, I feel that my greatest accomplishment was in high school when I created this like kind of nuclear abolition club, and where me and my friends we engage with a lot of people, in the community, not just the students but also the city council members and even the mayor a couple of times. And we really like try to educate everyone and raise awareness. And we actually got a proclamation to be passed by the mayor on behalf of the whole city of Burbank, just 3 months after the club was founded. And that was a really big accomplishment. And it was basically the city, you know, calling for the U.S. to abolish nuclear weapons, and they're taking a stand against nuclear weapons proliferation. So I'd say that's one of my accomplishments. And then besides that, I feel like something at least I'm proud of is like my work with Students for Nuclear Disarmament. I'm a founding member of this national nonpartisan student-led organization, and it actually started after that accomplishment and with the proclamation in high school. And really, just since like the second semester of my senior year, I've been a steering committee member of this organization. And it's been so wonderful, just like basically meeting all these and connecting with all these different students in high schools and universities across the country, and like encouraging them and giving them resources that they need to help them with any of their desires that they have with their chapters or their clubs at school, any of their advocacy goals, and I've been able to go to a lot of different places because of this experience. New Mexico is one of them, and this will be my second time I'll be in New Mexico. Really happy about that.
And everybody's happy to have you, dude.
Mhm.
That's insanely impressive. That's more than most people do. I mean, by being 19, but definitely in high
Thank
school.
you.
Yeah, man, I was not that cool, not that important of a person in high school, that's for sure.
We're all important, man. We're all important.
Yeah. Um, cool. Can you describe what students for nuclear disarmament is?
Yeah.
And take as
So,
long as you want, like go as in depth as you want.
okay, sounds good. So, it's hard to explain what Students for Nuclear Disarmament is without explaining what Back from the Brink is. So, Back from the Brink is a coalition of like just ordinary people, and it's centered around these five policy solutions. And basically, and they have these resolutions that they're seeking to pass throughout local municipalities and governments. And basically, it's like these city governments calling on the US to enact those same five policy changes. And so, how that correlates to Students for Nuclear Disarmament is we're a partner organization of Back from the Brink. We're our own standalone organization, but we kind of are more oriented towards students, young people, high schoolers, and university students. And it's centered around the same five policy solutions, grassroots organizing, uniting people towards these policy changes that would make the world safer. But also, it's a network, so to speak, of just students and throughout the country who seek to encourage each other and give each other support for these goals. And so, how the structure of the organization is basically there's different chapters all across the country in different schools. So, for example, my school, we're Cal Poly Students for Nuclear Disarmament, or at like if there was a like the chapter in Boston College, it's Boston Students for Nuclear Disarmament. They can also have their own unique names, but the main thing is just it's uh it's just two or more individuals who have some form of nuclear disarmament goal, and they're working towards it. And being a part of the organization has a lot of benefits in terms of just support from like the steering committee. We have like a outreach coordinator who meets with all these different chapters, these students in all these different chapters, bi-weekly or weekly, as long as much as they want, and we really just, especially over summer, we help prepare them for the fall. And also we also engage in like national initiatives together, across the whole country. We're going to be having like a big like canvassing event, like a petition event leading up towards the Trinity test, actually on the 16th, where everyone in their own respective communities, um, they have like a table and they have a petition that just basically has the five policy solutions, and it we just ask people, do you support the cause of nuclear abolition? And so stuff like that, that's like what Students for Nuclear Disarmament is basically just organizing people and giving them as much resources that they can to do their best with nuclear disarmament. And we encourage them to do back from the brink resolutions, but there's really anything that they would like to do in their communities, they can, because everyone is in all these different unique places, and each state and city has their own unique history. There's students at Montana State University who are protesting the nuclear weapon silos that are in that state, and it's very unique to them, and they're doing a lot of stuff with that. It just depends on each person and each group, but we're going to support them as much as we can. And I like how we give them that autonomy.
That's
Hope
awesome,
that
dude.
hope that answers your question.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Cool. You've kind of answered the next one a little bit. Because the next question was why did you start Students for Nuclear Disarmament or
Mhm,
co-start it?
mhm.
Um,
I'll go. I can answer.
yeah.
Um, Really, like the person who had the idea of Students for Nuclear Disarmament was my fellow steering committee member Rishi Guru Devan, and he basically thought about it was based on the nuclear freeze movement back in the 80s with the Cold War, where there was like so many people, like over 1 million people in New York, I believe, came together to like call for an abolition of nuclear weapons, and there was so much of a public like fear, but also unity towards nuclear abolition because there was like a lot more nuclear weapons than there are today. And tensions between the US and Russia were very high. This was during the Reagan administration. So, but because of like their efforts, they actually dwindled the amount of nuclear weapons to the amount they are today, which is like it was like thousands less. But still, the thing is because of that, it kind of lulls people into a false sense of security that we don't have to worry about the threat of nuclear war. But nuclear weapons are still exist, and tensions are building up right now. And we're at the perfect time in history to abolish nuclear weapons and get rid of them before nuclear war happens. Because as soon as it does, it's all over. We've already lost. So this is the perfect time. And that's really what's like encouraging us and motivating us. Me specifically, and also Rishi as well, what really like encouraged us to like even like hear about this threat of nuclear war and just like want to take action towards it was actually we both in different circumstances and times we heard Dr. Ira Helfand, who's also one of the speakers at these events, give his lecture on the health effects of a modern day nuclear weapon attack on a major city, and his vivid description and just like immense detail. It completely blew my mind and it honestly terrified me, but it lulled me into a almost an indignant passion. Like, how could this ever happen? I felt like such a never before in my life. This was about 2 years ago
Okay.
when I first heard it. Yeah, I was like, I need to do something to change this. This cannot happen. How could he was describing what nuclear war would basically look like. And I was like, how could we even like as human beings allow this to even be a possibility? How could we even consider doing this to other human beings on our planet? And it really made me want to it made me think about my life and how short it is and how I can use it and what I was here for. And I really feel that. And this was right before I started the Nuclear Disarmament Club. This was the summer going into my senior year. And so after that, I really kicked off that club and started doing all this nuclear advocacy work. What I really like, and it's only that vow is only deepened since then. And Rishi also was encouraged by Ira Helfand as well, in his own unique way. And really like I'm just like so determined to unite young people together with this issue. I think Students for Nuclear Disarmament has a unique mission in the fact that it's really like I think it's truly building up a grassroots like unity of people because one, it's focusing on young people, and young people have so much passion and so much sway in like the social thought of the era. I believe through social media and everything, we're so connected to each other, but
Yeah.
also it's just like on the very basic level, Students for Nuclear Disarmament is talking with people in your community about the threat of nuclear war and what you can do to transform it. And it's efficient in the fact that it's in like these school environments where you're always already in these close contact with so many people, and you can also have like clubs where you can regularly meet and have all these resources. It's just very like it's a prime time to unite the people in your community towards nuclear disarmament. And I really love it. And I think it has so much potential. It's only a 2-year-old organization, but I think it has so much potential. And I think so many young people desire peace and they want to do something towards it, but we also struggle with powerlessness. But I
Yeah,
really think the unity that Students for Nuclear Disarmament fosters is like so powerful and empowering. Yeah,
it really is, man.
thank you.
Um, Especially because like when you're young, you don't know how to even begin do anything really about most of the
Yeah,
things you're passionate about.
yeah,
So like it's really cool that you set that up.
thank you.
Um, and the next question was how did you start it? So if there's any more that you had to say on that, that would be an answer for that. Otherwise, it's cool.
I can just like briefly explain. It was really it was really just a matter of uh getting my so it was just me and Rishi at first, but then it was really thanks to Ira Helfand. He speaks at high schools and universities a lot, and he gives his talk in a really like it did the same thing it did to me to a lot of people. It scared them, but also inspired them to take action. And
Yeah.
so he's now since the Students for Nuclear Disarmament is created, he shares with them, this organization is perfect for you young people. If you'd like to start a chapter at your school or do something you could talk to these guys, with this organization. And basically from there, we've just been gathering like contact information. And since like 2024, which is when the organization started, we've really just been like having regular meetings, like monthly meetings, national meetings with like students. And we've all just been like sharing our updates and starting, and the number of chapters is slowly growing, and people are just like, we're just giving them the resources and encouragement that they need. And also the steering committee has grown and we have a outreach coordinator too. And now we have a social media expert. And it's great. We've been really just like it's not a one person thing. It's definitely a united effort.
Yeah.
And that's another great thing about our organization, I believe.
Yeah.
Hope that
That
answers your question.
yeah, totally. Um, I don't have this question really written down, but out of curiosity, how did you get other people that maybe didn't know about any of this stuff or like never thought about it? How did you get them to start thinking about it and like caring?
Yeah. Well, actually, that really makes me want to talk about really recently. I just finished my first year at my school, Cal Poly, and some of the things I've been doing in like my second semester was we have these petitions, these Students for Nuclear Disarmament petitions, and it's just a general thing that describes this is what Students for Nuclear Disarmament is. This is what we call for, and it's just you just sign your name to offer support and how I've been going about sharing this with like people at my school. There's this like open area where people are just chilling, and I sit down with them. I'm like, would you like to have a conversation about the threat of nuclear war? A lot of people are like, what? Because it's who in your daily life ever asked you about the threat of nuclear war? It's something that is not talked about hardly ever, but it doesn't mean it's not removed from people's thoughts. And people are have everyone has their own opinion and understanding of the situation. And so what I seek to do is I meet people where they're at, and I really just these are the most like fulfilling and enriching conversations, which may seem like a surprise because it's about such a somber topic as nuclear war. But how I go about it is I don't ask them, do you think it's possible for, you know, these policy changes for the US to, talk with Russia and China about lowering their nuclear arsenals? A lot of the times people's answer is no. But the thing that I'm trying to do is not whether or not you think it's possible, but what do you want as a human being? Like, what do you individually want? I try to talk to them person to person, because I think with this, when we think in terms of like international relations, it can get kind of removed from reality and also removed from humanity in a way. So I really try to bring about like conversations that are just like how do you feel as an individual, and I also share my own thoughts like how I personally believe that I don't just share, nuclear war is scary and the it's gonna kill all of us. That alone I don't think is very encouraging. But also it's a matter of what I feel like needs to change in order for us to actually go towards a world free of nuclear weapons. It's a simple thing, but it is also very difficult. But I really share this with others, and it is that there needs to be a not only a political like not political but policy change, but also a change in people's hearts, a social change, because the current paradigm is that of we value nuclear weapons because we like the power they give us and we are using them to deter other people from using these nuclear weapons on us. But the
Yeah.
whole situation as a whole is so inhumane because we're literally threatening genocide and Armageddon onto the whole world. All countries are doing this to each other. And it's like founded upon such an unreliable base, which is just fear
Yeah.
and hoping people will, despite all that stress, will still act rationally to not use nuclear weapons. We
Yeah.
cannot rely upon mutually assured destruction, you know? So
Yeah.
while if there's something that should never be used, we should just get rid of them, you know?
Yeah.
And so things like that I'm sharing with them. And also that the thing is really the cause, if there's a World War III, that is going to be nuclear war and it will be the end of the world. And so this isn't just an effort to abolish nuclear weapons, but it's an effort to bring to stop humanity from going to war. And how you really go about that, I believe it's a matter of the heart. And it's really accumulates on an individual scale. So that's what I love about this is the fact that it's a grassroots effort, and how I go about sharing with people about what they can do to abolish nuclear weapons. It's really just like be the role model that you want to see in the world. And I know that may sound abstract, but I've been really trying to embody that in my life. And I feel that if I'm respectful of others and sincere and don't follow those tendencies of, resorting to violence when people don't meet the same objectives as me, and just things of that nature, just connecting with people life to life, heart to heart, it brings about the desire for peace within everyone, because all people desire peace. That's a fact. And
Yeah.
I think just like it's my opportunity, just from them signing their name saying I support the abolition of nuclear weapons. It's so much more than that. It's like them making the cause and making the stand that they want this peaceful society to happen and that they respect life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So I think I really try to connect with people in like a humanistic way, because really nuclear war threatens every living being on this planet.
Yeah.
It's the most fundamental issue, and it's also something that we can change if there's just enough motivation to do it. It's pretty simple to dismantle nuclear weapons. What needs to change though is that that tendency in our hearts to disrespect other life. You
Yeah.
know, you know,
Yeah.
you know. I really believe that.
Yeah. And it's good to connect with people where they're at because
Hmm.
the weird thing about anything nuclear related is like it's been within all kinds of pop culture, like touched on. So it's kind of like people think about it, but that also with things like Metal Gear Solid or Godzilla or Doctor Strangelove, it's either like satirized or it's like you get desensitized to it a little bit.
Hmm.
Or it
Hmm.
becomes just like a spectacle kind of thing, and people tend to forget that's like all of that cool spectacle stuff in movies and games and whatever would suck in real life.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't feel for a lot of people like a real threat. And it's also, if you genuinely think about it, it's a very scary thing. The fact that any moment of any day, everything could be gone. You could just die in an instant. And what's even more saddening about it is that the the people who would be even worse are the people who survive any nuclear exchange. The people who die have it easy. The people who live after nuclear war in those areas, in just the world afterwards, it's a completely different place and it's irreparable damage. And
Yeah.
we must prevent any nuclear weapons to be used.
Yeah.
Even if and it's likely when they are used, it's likely to escalate into a full-blown exchange, and that's just the end of the world. But even in the most limited use, even in an accident, it would be irreparable damage, and it's terrible. And we do not need another accident or another use like Hiroshima, Nagasaki to happen for us to come together to abolish nuclear weapons. It's not true. We can do it right now, and we must, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The next question was, what advice for other teens and younger people in general do you have to learn more, get involved, and what to do if they are concerned? And so, like, if they're out there somewhere where they're like, I don't know, maybe it's a homeschooled kid or something that
Mhm.
isn't gonna have Ira Helfand come and talk at their school,
Yeah.
obviously, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
What advice for all
Well,
those guys do you have?
really, like the fact that you want to make a difference is so significant, and there are resources out there. Students for Nuclear Disarmament is out there. If they don't know about it, they could totally get in contact with us, and we it's just such a wonderful community because we also meet you where you're at, and we give you the ability and resources to be able to do whatever you so choose. We all have different goals, and like we all have different capabilities. Some people want to make a club, or some people want to just like read a book. Some people just want to talk to their friends about it. Some people would like to even do like a art perform, like a art, like make art that raises awareness about the threat of nuclear war. Some people would like to even make a film. There's so many different things you can do. It's just a matter of reaching out and having the support network to be able to do it, you know? And there is one, which is Students for Nuclear Disarmament. And there's also Back from the Brink hubs all across the country as well. So it's not a matter of like there isn't any opportunity. There's always something you can do. It's just a matter of finding it and hold on to that desire for peace, to do something about it. Because it's so easy for us to not believe in ourselves, you know? I guess to directly answer your question, if they have any form of thought about it or desire about it, they should talk to someone about it, anyone in their environment. And also you can talk to us as well if they can. But if they don't know about it, just talk to people. I think through this exchange of human beings to human beings, that's where all you can cultivate any determination in your heart. I feel like if I never told anyone that I wanted to, if I never talked to Ira Helfand after his speech that I wanted to do something to make a difference, I would have never heard about Back from the Brink, and I never would have made that club in my high school. I never would have been where I am today talking to you right now. And it's just a matter of we live amongst other people, and there's always someone supporting you. There's always everyone wants to make a difference. It's just a matter of like, how are you going to do that? But it's not as complicated as you think. You just got to unite with other people. It's just a matter of talking.
Yeah.
From there, everything can expand for sure.
Yeah. All right. And why should people take the time to come out to the events? Like, give your little sales pitch on
Well, I don't know if I could give a good sales pitch, and I I don't know. I know you may want me to be like, this is the best event ever. You should come out, blah blah blah.
I
But
mean, it would help for sure.
it would help. Okay,
But
I'll
no,
do my
like be you on just like why it's important, you know?
well, really, like if you even hear about this event, that means something, you know, because the people who would be able to go to this event live in New Mexico. And I've been to New Mexico once, and it was last year. And the things I learned about the history of that state, it is just so heartbreaking the history you guys have with nuclear weapons, with all the downwinders, and how much, our government just like they build all these nuclear weapons. They put all this money, the same amount of money. They have like $10 billion in Los Alamos towards developing nuclear weapons, and they have 9.6 billion dollars towards the entire like budget of the state of New Mexico. And it's just like that alone should tell you that like our country values nuclear weapons so much, if not more than the people. I can say that just based on what I've learned.
Yeah, I
And
mean, they actively don't they try to push to sweep the downwinders and a lot of New Mexicans under the rug. Because
Mm.
like there's people on the reservations and stuff that have like plutonium mines almost
Yes.
literally in their backyard that
Yes.
are actively mined.
Yeah.
And then they're just kind of like, no, man, it's fine.
Because I think you just touched on a big point because it's like when something is has been going on for so long, it's easy to just get used to it and settle down with your circumstances. But I know that everyone here deserves so much better than this. And not even just people in New Mexico, the whole country, and even people throughout the world. There's so much going wrong in our country. But the thing that the underlying essence of it is like it's a disrespect to the dignity of your life. We all deserve to be happy and we all deserve to live without fear of nuclear war and with all this contamination and just negative effects that these nuclear weapon development programs cause to people. And personally, I think all of these New Mexican people have such a connection to this issue of nuclear weapons. And if you guys can rise up in opposition against nuclear weapons at the heart of our nuclear weapon, epicenter of our country, and if you guys can transform that, it would seriously transform, I believe, transform the entire global situation of the threat of nuclear war. I think if New Mexico can win, so can the entire world. And I think this is a key place. And that's why I'm so passionate about New Mexico. And I'm so honored to be here, and speaking with you guys. And I want to continue to go to these events year after year. And not even just once a year, multiple times. I really think like I think people should go to this event, especially young people, because this work that I've been doing towards nuclear disarmament, I feel like I'm doing the most I can towards peace, and it's been very fulfilling. And I feel like it's while it is scary and it does at times take courage, it is something that I'm so grateful that I'm involved in because I'm grown so much as a person as a result of it. I feel like I'm so much more solid, in my core. And I definitely feel like this is the right thing. I know it in my heart. And I think it would just expand the lives of all people who get involved with it. And I think in even if they don't care about all that, it would just be a nice like way to learn, because how often do you even like hear about this stuff? Sometimes people have been interested in this issue just because it never even breached their minds, and it's such a profound and significant thing. So I hope that answers your question. I think you should just try it out, expand your life a little bit, it's
Yeah,
something new, and it's something that I believe is very profound and very important, especially for people in New Mexico.
yeah,
Mhm.
I agree. And especially that it's a good way to learn because you'd be surprised at how little it was brought up in my own
Interesting.
education growing up here.
Wow.
Uh, they were very happy to tell us about Billy the Kid every time we had New Mexico history in school.
But not
Yet
nuclear
I did
weapons.
not learn about the Trinity event in school,
That's amazing.
period.
Are you serious?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I
absurd.
I learned about it outside of school because the Trinity site opens up twice a year.
Um,
Yeah, twice a year. And so some like Buddhist friends and stuff invited a bunch of us when we were young to go to the site.
wow.
And so I went to that and I was 13 and I had no idea that the bombs were tested here.
That's
And
absurd.
oh, it's crazy, right?
I that is crazy. And I think that's you just highlighted another reason, like it's your right to know about your state's history, which
Yeah.
actively impacts your lives every single day. How how funds are diverted and even the contaminants in like the area you live, especially people on like those reservations you mentioned.
Yeah,
So important. I hope they can also attend this event.
I do too. I do
Yeah.
too. Yeah. And I got distracted because I got that little like running out of time notification. So
Mhm.
that ruined my train of thought there for a second.
Oh, it's all good.
But yeah, it's a thing that I think everybody that has is from here should definitely take the time to learn about. And
Mhm.
also with all of the people that are moving out here from like LA or mostly LA, it seems. Uh,
That's cool because I'd like to move out there one day. Like it
yeah,
seems like a great place.
it's a pretty cool place. It's getting a little more expensive because people are agree
Hmm.
with you,
Yeah.
but like everybody that moves out here has to know what they're getting themselves into as well, I think.
Hmm.
And if they do move out here, then they kind of are taking on a responsibility, I think, to
Hmm.
get involved
Yeah.
because that's kind of like, I mean, it's kind of like you don't start playing Fallout and leave. I don't know if you're a gamer or not, but when you get
Fallout.
out of the vault and then you're just kind of like, oh man, this place sucks. Like, no, you got to go and do all the quests and stuff. It's kind of
You
this
had to know
just a
what you were
real,
getting into.
yeah,
Hope, I'm glad New Mexico isn't as messed up as the Fallout world is, though.
me too,
But
man.
well, that's what we're trying to prevent right now.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, it's the same thing. I think you touched on a good point. I really think like regardless if people are aware, like all those people in that state have such a responsibility, you know, such like a such like a significance for even being there. And I feel very significant that I'm there and I'm able to, help out in any way I can. And I really, like I mentioned earlier, I really want, it's like I want New Mexico to win. I want this situation to improve. That's my wholehearted desire going to this conference.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think I can speak for all New Mexicans, which I would almost never do speaking for other people, but I think I can safely speak for a lot of us in saying we appreciate that. We
Oh,
appreciate that someone cares.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. All
Thanks,
right,
man.
man. Yeah. That's all the questions that I had. So if there's anything else you want to go ahead and throw in here at the end of it.
Go to the events. They're great. You're going to enjoy it. And there's going to be wonderful people, wonderful speakers, wonderful music, and a wonderful exchange of hearts. It's going to be a very wonderful experience, especially if you're a spiritual person, I feel like you would also really enjoy the one on July 13th. That's going to be a very great event. Just just like try it out. And it'll take courage, but I really think you'll be rewarded. And I'd love to meet all you wonderful people. Yeah.
All right. All right, man. Thank you
I don't
so
know if you'll
much.
use that, but I wanted to share that.
I think I'll probably use that. That one was really good. All
Sounds
right,
good.
man.
Sounds good.